All right, I think I am finally live again. It's my first time doing a live video in quite a while, and also utilizing Zoom, which I love for all we do. We use Zoom for all my cash practice mastermind meetings. It's been great. Um, but now this is a new thing trying to go live on Facebook. So hopefully this is coming through to everybody. So I'm toying with the idea of doing these on a weekly basis. And today I'll just say, if you haven't read on there already, that the topic is if you're going to do any kind of private practice marketing at events, anything, I mean, it can be anything at all, but let's just say, like in our case, at my practice, a running event, a marathon kickoff event, an actual race, something like that. If you're going to do any kind of getting out in your niche community in front of your ideal clients in the form of events, it's very, very important to keep a few things in mind and make sure that the time and money, even if it's free, the time is worth it to you, because generating leads and following up on them appropriately is just absolutely vital to make sure that we're not wasting our time. And today, I'm not going to go into the follow up part. And I'll just briefly say that if any event is not going to have a decent number, a decent percentage of your ideal client, it's just not worth it. They take too much time and energy to get out there in the hopes that you'll get in front of, just a handful of people that might become, either referral sources or patients themselves. And so making sure your selection out, you're checking that box that there's going to be plenty of people that are your ideal client. First and foremost. But when you're there, and what we're going to talk about today is the lead generation, or that which you utilize to generate leads, i.e., the lead magnet. And so, again, I do Tuesday coaching calls with my mastermind group. And my thought is that I come on and after we do that, we always cover a wide variety of topics and questions that I would just choose one and hop on here and talk about that one thing, so that everyone can benefit in my audience, and I can kind of start to produce some more video content and get back into Facebook Lives, which I was appreciating and enjoying before. Just so you know, right now, I don't have it set. I got to figure out the tech side of this. I'm not able to see any comments or likes or anything right now. So I apologize for that. I will figure that part out. But if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, I would like to know. I don't want to do this to, for no one or just a handful of people. But if you'd like to be able to see live on Tuesday afternoons, or at least see the replay after the fact of one of the topics that we covered in my coaching call with my mastermind group that day, give me a few likes or thumbs up, or whatever, leave a comment. Yes, I don't care, but just let me know if that sounds like something you'd be interested in. And so today's topic, it was brought up by one of my members who is a speech therapist. We have a nice wide variety of professionals. PT obviously is the most represented, but we've got OT, speech, chiropractic have all been represented. Off and on at times, we have a direct primary care physician right now, as well as psych counseling, psych therapy. So, it's interesting how some things don't apply to all, but so many strategies and tactics really do apply to all of our healthcare disciplines, whether you're cash based or not. But in this case, one of our speech therapists right now, who's a good friend, she's going to be going to like what I would consider kind of a unique event. It's not something that you'd see a lot of PTs at, but I think it fits well. It does check the box for her that her ideal customer is going to be there. So she works with children with speech, a variety of speech issues. And this event is like if I remember correctly, it's like a Disney kind of fairy tale themed consignment fair. So I thought it would be an interesting thing to bring on here, because in that group, I'm constantly thinking of, and having my members think of, how can this information apply to my niche, to my practice, to my specific scenario? And so I thought that this was a unique one to bring up. So she's going to be at this consignment fair where people are, I guess, selling things related to, the various characters and things that are really popular among kids. And so there'll certainly be a lot of her ideal customers there. And so when you're selecting those events, it doesn't have to be that those customers know they need your services. It's ideal if they do, if most of them do, but you're going to be at a lot of different events as a physical therapist, if you are, where plenty of people need your services, but they don't know it. And that's okay. It's better if they do, but it's okay if they don't. But that does go to to the topic at hand of what are the kinds of lead magnets or ways that we can maximize the amount of leads that we get from an event that we follow up with? And so her question was about, is it okay to give away things that are for free, like to the general public? I mean, of course, we give things for free for, or she does for a genuine prospect or a past client that she's wanting to reactivate, but kind of to a general public at an event like this, which she hasn't done before. And I say, heck yeah. I mean, if whatever you can create to generate as many leads as possible of your ideal client, then even if it takes you hours to fulfill that free thing or to create it, then it can still be a really great ROI on your time and money if you collect enough leads at your event. And that's where the lead magnet becomes so important. And so today I'm going to get in now with these three kind of components or characteristics of lead magnet I think are really important for you to consider as you're looking at a specific event and wondering how you can, what you're going to create or what you're going to bring to the table there, to the booth or whatever you're in. And so sometimes it's easy to hit all three of these things, and sometimes it's quite difficult. The more of them you can get, the better. So first and foremost, it has to be interesting and attractive to your ideal customer. That might sound self-evident, but it's amazing to me how many of us clinicians, we're caught up in our clinical mind, and we think that everyone is as interested in this stuff as we are. And unfortunately, they're not. Most people with pain and injury aren't looking for physical therapy. They're just looking for getting back to the thing that their pain or injury is, keeping them from doing. Ultimately, that's what they're looking for. Whatever can get them back to that. And a lot of times they might have an idea that PT could be a part of that, or they might not. So we really don't want to sell them. We kind of want to sell them what they are interested in and what they're really looking for, and give them what they need. And so in the case of a lead magnet, just making sure that it's something that is truly attractive, that would bring them to your table. They see that, that it's offered. And what I told her is, I found the best way to go about these kinds of things is to do some sort of giveaway where people are kind of signing up, like a raffle of some sort, or a giveaway where you can get a whole lot of signatures and a lot of people that are trying to get that one thing or those three things that you're giving away to generate as many leads as possible. And so I told her, go about it in that way, but let's talk about what you're actually giving away. So, in the case of, say, physical therapy, it's like, well, I'll take the example of when I used to do a lot of running events with my practice, and we haven't done as many of them lately, but we did a variety of different giveaways. And what I always found was that the things that were directed at like injury prevention weren't nearly as interesting and attractive as the things that were directed at like performance. So an example would be, we did some where we were doing injury prevention screens, we're giving away free injury prevention screens at these marathon kickoffs. It's like, hey, we were selling them all up on, injury can keep you from reaching those marathon goals. So let's just knock out any issues, any landmines now, right? And, we'd get signups for sure, but it was nothing compared to when we offered free or even discounted, you're still paid, the high-speed camera stride analysis. It was like, ooh, I wonder if I'm a heel striker and a pronator like the guy at the running shoe store told me, like that kind of thing was way more attractive, even for those who knew they might need PT, even if they knew that they had injuries in the past, they were still more into like getting a stride analysis and getting the cameras out and all that kind of stuff. We get way more leads that way. So you have to really know your customer and ask them questions and figure out like, what is it that they would truly be most attracted to? So whatever your niche is, you got to figure that out first and foremost. Now, secondly, it does need to be useful in some way, if at all possible. But the attractive part is actually more important, but useful too. And I'd say useful, especially if it can identify the need for your services. So going back to the running example, the stride analysis was perfect because it was something that was attractive. People wanted to get that or wanted to have a chance at, getting one of those for free or would sign up for a discounted one. And it would often reveal if they had issues that needed more of our services. They needed a more comprehensive, exercise plan or some manual therapy to work out some tightnesses or whatever the case may be. We could easily take that and it would unveil, in a very visual way, in this case, to that, to that like winning client or prospective client who won something, and turn them into a paying customer. So if you can marry those two things up, something that's attractive, but that will also reveal in some way that they could use the services on a paid basis, then that's even better. And then finally, it needs to be related to the event and to the services that you provide. Now, in our case with the running thing, that's easy. I mean, those things are very related. It's a running related event. It's a running related service, and we treat runners, right? Easy. That's done. But in this case with the speech therapist today, it was interesting because it was like, well, how do we have something that relates to the theme of the event, the Disney, the fairy tale, the characters that little kids are really into, that's attractive to the kids and maybe to the parents, and also related to to speech therapy services in somewhere that could lead to them. And so she had the idea of handpicking, a series of books she really likes that help with speech development. I thought that's great. But I think the one thing to add to that is that, or is the idea of, can we find a series of those books, or, a few books like that serve that purpose, but that involve and have those really popular characters in them, that the kids are really going to be attracted to. They're going to be pulling on mommy and daddy's hands. Hey, what's, the Frozen princess book over here? How can we get that? Right. So that was in her situation was kind of unique, and you had to get kind of creative to figure out what is going to really check that box off. Sometimes it's very easy, but sometimes you have to get a little creative to try and get all three of those characteristics fulfilled to get the maximum amount of leads, so that you can get the maximum amount of paying customers, from that event and from that effort. So those were the three kind of things that I wanted to pass along as far as lead generation and lead magnets, and how to use them at live events. I think they're very, very powerful. If they're done right, if they're selected right, if they're done right, and the follow-up is done correctly, they can really, really push a cash-based practice forward, or any type of practice for that matter. So I really, I encourage you to utilize these methods. If you know of any practice owners that do live events, make sure you tag them in the comments below so that they can see this information. There may be one or two things or components that they're not, really paying close attention to, and this might be helpful for them as well. And again, give me some likes here and let me know in the comments if this is something that you'd like to see on a weekly basis. I apologize, I can't see your comments right now. I will figure that part out soon. But thank you all for tuning in now, whoever's here live, as well as those who are watching the replay. I hope that this is a big enough hit that it's something that I'm compelled to continue doing on a weekly basis. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.